Hi there, welcome to the channel. My name is Cynthia. I'm here to do a little outdoor reading for us today on the banks of the Columbia River. The first people of this river called it the Nichiwana, and I'm very honored and privileged to get to live on the banks and to have grown up on the banks of this river also. And I like to honor being outside and being on these waterways as part of my layouts and my channel. And as you can see, this is a place that has a lot of impact of settler colonialism. There's a lot of English ivy that's taken over this basalt rock riparian environment here on the banks of the river. But among the English ivy is a lot of native salal, ash tree, ocean spray, big leaf maple, Doug fir. There's also wisteria, which is invasive, that is growing in abundance here. This site is formerly, when the rail line was first laid here, this spot became an offloading site where they would offload from rail onto boats and vice versa. So there's a long imprint of settler colonialism on this spot. Nevertheless, it's a beautiful spot, and we get surrounded by bald eagles and hawks and osprey, and we even see white pelicans nowadays. River otter, because this is a healthy part of the Columbia River, so even river otter will come through here and we'll catch little glimpses of them. Sea lions, cormorants, sturgeon, all the salmon you could imagine, although not nearly like in the original days, right? So anyways, I'm just here to do a layout for us and honoring the spot that we're in. And this is just going to be a general reading. General collective reading, and I brought just a selection of my cards down here, so we'll just get these out so they're handy. Get myself still in the viewfinder, so that's good. Hopefully nothing wonky happens like my camera turning off or something. So let's just get a general message for the collective catching this beautiful outdoor reading taking place in the Pacific Northwest. What's going to be helpful for us to know as a collective in this general layout? What wants to come out today? Thank you for being here. And for liking and subscribing. I appreciate any likes and subscriptions and comments on my content. I love to have that kind of exchange. So thank you. And in fact, I have a new playlist called Surprise Specifics, where if you do make a comment on it on my content, you might get selected for a personal layout. It's one that I would share on the channel unless I felt it was something that should be kept private, or you specifically requested that it just remain between us. And I don't identify you necessarily in the reading on the post, but I would let you know that it's for you specifically. Going to be helpful for us to know here. All right, so it's looking to me like you're feeling pretty weary about a circumstance in a relationship that you're in presently. We have a Queen of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles, and I think the Queen of Swords is the person that you're feeling somewhat a tension with or in conflict with. You're a little bit weary or fatigued from the dynamics of this relationship, and with this porcupine image here, you can see that he's got his quills up. He's trying to protect himself. And I have a sense that you're trying, from trickery or from things that are not for his good, right? That might want to mess with him or tangle with him in some way. You're feeling kind of fatigued and worn out from having to be in this defensive position, but you find yourself feeling like you need to defend yourself in some way here. You're having a challenge keeping your hope up because of that. There may be a feeling of like nothing's ever going to change. Like no matter what I do, I can't seem to get on the right track. Or for some reason, all of a sudden, that Chris Farley skit, which is classic, where he plays that guy in the van down by the river, like, and he's talking to those two teenagers. How can I get on the right track? It's hilarious. It's one of his best SNL skits. So you have some humor, clearly. If that came through in a really random way just now, you're able to see the humor in things, and that's a strength for you. But you're having trouble keeping your hope up. You feel really worn out by this whole situation, whatever it is. It's a dynamic between you and this Queen of Swords here. And a Queen of Swords is very guarded and discerning. She doesn't like to be messed with, and she likes to get straight to the point in a conflict. She doesn't mince words, and she can be seen as intimidating or cold and defended, right? So that might be how you're perceiving this person right now, is that they're really have their guard up. Not anybody's going to get in and get close to this person. And that's got you feeling really tired for some reason. Maybe you've been trying to figure it out and you are pretty much wanting to give up. We'll pull some clarifiers. This is you, is the Knight of Pentacles, and this is your advice, is to keep going. There's something in this that's worth your engagement. It's not advising you to walk away. It's advising you to keep going in a slow and steady way. Pace yourself. This conflict is worth addressing, or this tension, or whatever it is, the need to, you're both in a defensive position here. But there's something about this that's worth your while. It's worth your investment. It's worth your effort. It's worth the work. This is not going to be something that's going to be a quick resolution, though. It's going to require some effort on your part. It has to do with something to do with a coming together or a joyful experience in relationships, or it could be a triangulation that's occurring between you and this queen. Let's pull some clarifiers and find out, because this is the near future, is the Three of Cups. So that's often a really positive card of like, oh good, I'm having a gathering with trusted people that is replenishing and that I really enjoy their company. But with this tension, I'm just wondering if there's a little bit of either it's maybe going to come into a more harmonized place, or part of the tension is that there's a triangulation happening. So that's why I want to pull some clarifying cards here. Tell us more about this near future card. What's the quality of this Three of Cups that's coming, in the near future? Raccoons can be considered tricksters, but they're also just very smart communal animals. So they're not necessarily tricksters, but you know the sort of trope of raccoons are kind of like masked bandits, right? They're little banditos, kind of. So there might be some trickery, but maybe of the good kind. Maybe this is going to be kind of a light or a fun, frisky energy. Let's find out. What's the quality of this Three of Cups here? Okay, we've got the 10 degrees of Gemini and Sagittarius. So I need to use their little book here for this antique French deck here. The 10 of Gemini. There is something that is human in the face, which expresses concentration of the mind, deep reflection, and fear, together with a look of sorrowful intelligence and dogged physical strength. So this is the goat card that we're talking about here. It's this 10 degrees of Gemini. Yet the goat, which suckled Jupiter and Almathea, need have no fear of destiny. A horn of plenty, filled with delicious fruit, is within her reach. Will she not dare to grasp it? This card represents disquiet. That's the tension here that you've been experiencing. Disquiet, imaginary, worry, and fear of doing the wrong thing. So being over analytical is sort of the quality of this dynamic, that maybe there's been no reason for either of you to have your defenses so up. There might just be a quality of mistrust that's really an illusion and not anything to really trouble yourselves about. That the quality is actually one of a desire to come together. Both of you have this, so it might be important to just let your defenses down a little bit. You're both a little too guarded, is the sense that this is saying. And if you can kind of let that quiet somewhat, you can enter in this warm Sagittarian relational Three of Cups energy. I'm going to read the Sagittarius card though. But this is first highlighting the imaginary worry. Just keep doing your work because you're on the right track. These worries are somewhat illusory or imaginary. And what else now with the Sagittarius card? Warmth is usually a good sign for frosty conditions in a relationship. This warm fire sign energy is a nice card to see here. Yeah. Kindly, intelligent, and urbane-looking centaur is treading with cautious hooves the mountainside in search of a few simples, and to gaze upon the stars from its summit. He carries an arrow which he will skillfully shoot at any evildoer. Sagittarius is warm, dry, masculine, and of the fiery element. It is the card of peace, pacifism, quietude, and desire for progress, and gives every possibility of achieving it through skill and prudence. So that's really a positive omen. This kind of abundance of caution and guardedness and fatigue is a little bit unnecessary. You're having trouble seeing that there really is hope here, and it's worth the investment, and it's worth it to keep doing the work, even if you're not getting instant gratification. It's more of a slow and steady. But if you're willing to do that, things are going to thaw quite a bit into a warm, friendly, accommodating energy of this Three of Cups, which is really lovely to see. What else for you? Let's find out some text here. What else can you know about this dynamic between you? Either what maybe has caused some of this defensiveness, or what else can you know about smoothing this over? It looks like you're about to enter a period of smoothing it over, and you both want that. You might be feeling a little bit intimidated by this Queen of Swords because she can be sort of sharp-tongued, and you might feel a little bit, I don't want to say intimidated, but just not sure how to approach her because you're being represented here as a knight. That would also indicate to me a little bit of a feeling on your end that you feel out of your element or out of your depth, or that you may not be able to measure up to this queen's wits or something. I'm not sure about that. But again, these are illusory worries. They're not something that really stand between you, because you're both motivated towards thawing this out and towards openness again and joy and fun with these three raccoons. It's really sweet energy that you're both inclined towards, so it's a really good sign. What else should you know about this? Like what has happened here or what else is important to understand? Look for what's being left out. What is the missing element? So we kind of identified already that there might be a little bit too much guardedness and prickly energy between the two of you with the sword and these quills. So I think the missing element is letting some warmth in and to thaw out some of that frostiness. That I think is part of the missing element, but that's coming if you're both open to that. And you both are. This is indicating that neither one of you really wants this tension. Sacred smoke. So it might help to cleanse your energy. If you're both people that like to partake, you might smoke a bowl together, right? Or that can often be a harmonizing communal event. It doesn't have to be cannabis. It can be smoking a bowl of something else that's a nice herb to smoke, that share tobacco, right? Is a traditional use in the truest way, not the way we've, again, kind of morphed tobacco into something that has become destructive for us in a subtle or colonial way. Well, tobacco is a sacred plant, so it could be something like that that could have meaning to help you get back to the true essence of things. Are you receiving the same level of devotion that you offer? So I think this speaks a little bit to that power dynamic tension that you're feeling. You might be feeling a little bit unmatched in some way, like either you aren't going to be able to measure up or they may not be able to measure up. There's some concern about that, but it's an illusory concern. It's not anything that you need to really fret about, because through some discussion and work to communicate, it can thaw right out. There's no real need for that concern, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But it's on somebody's mind here. My guess is it's on your mind. You've been a little bit worried about, am I just going to have to be in an equation again where I give all the time? This person's so frosty, like how do I don't want to have to be constantly trying to break down their walls, for example, right? You want them to move towards you as well, and for you not to be having to do all the work, I'm sensing. How about a rose oracle here for this relationship? Rose is in bloom right now where I'm at. There's a lot of wild rose blooming. I don't have one that's very convenient for me to sit next to, though. I'll look maybe after I'm done filming this to see about doing another one next to the wild rose, although I'd have to really get after it because they don't bloom forever. You know, they're short bloomers, wild rose. What else should you know? The sensualist. So that's also something that's going to help open things up and ease the suspicious or guarded nature here, is being willing to get physical a little bit. And you're in your element in the physical plane. You're coming from an earth-based energy right now. So that's good. What does this say about the sensualist here? It's a modern rose. It's Rose La France, card number 35. Passion and romance are in focus. So this is a love dynamic. I kind of was feeling that, but I don't know if I really spoke to that yet, that this is like a love relationship. That's what's coming through. Time to let your hair down and enjoy yourself. Throw caution to the wind, for a while anyway. The warning is not to let yourself get too far away from the ground, or you may just float off. Still, you may attract an admirer at the moment. The sensualist is the lover of all things that delight and light up their mind, body, and soul. They know how to enjoy themselves, but they are not selfish in their pursuits, much preferring company along for the ride. So that's great advice. Be willing to get physical and indulge and enjoy pleasure. That's very Three of Cups. Engaging in something pleasurable like this and a sensual physical experience is going to thaw things right out. I sense that there's good chemistry with that Sagittarian warmth here, right? That's a really good sign. And then I was going to pull an animal card as well, and then we'll call that good. Any last words? What kind of animal energy can help as well? Being willing to get physical, soften up a little, let your guard down somewhat, because the need for caution is a little bit too heightened right now. It's not matching what both of you want, which is to come together in a lightened up way. You don't want these burdens anymore between you. Some good animal energy that you can work with. Wolf, I love it. Wolf comes out a lot in my layouts in the last, really since I've started my channel. So there must be some segment of this collective that watches my readings that this is an animal guide for them. A wolf is really an apex predator that can work collectively and can work alone, and it can be fluid in its relationships. They have a hierarchy that they respect, and the hierarchy here that's in play is not a dangerous hierarchy for either one of you. It's one that you both would like to come together and have no imbalance, right? Where you're in a harmonized warm, sensual kind of energy between you. You don't want this guarded, prickly energy. You want things to soften and open up, which is really wonderful. And you have the capacity. Wolves have that capacity. They're not just predators, right? That they know and can let their guard down with the right pack, right? With the pack members that they trust. And this is the energy that you're in and that you can bring to the table, is like, how can we come together and work together? How can we form a pack here? Just a little two-person pack where we're trusting one another and not so guarded. How can that play out, and how can the hierarchy play out? And then here's the language from the Wolf card. Loyalty, intelligence, leadership, instinctiveness, independence, sociability, lustfulness, physicality, self-reliance, and mistrust. So mistrust is the very last one noticed. It's a strength of the wolf that it's not a fool, but it's saying between members of the pack, the wolf is safe to not be so mistrustful, right? So recognize that this is your pack. This is unfolding in a way that is a safe pack for you. So I think that's it. Sending out my respect. Thank you for joining me out here in this beautiful setting. And now that the weather's going to be a little more forgiving, I'll probably be trying to go on more sites like this to do readings. So stay tuned. And thank you much for being here.